Hi guys, I'm back. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apologise for not uploading the videos of white acres, basically because there aren't any. I said I was going to do videos of each lake as it went and what have you, but it didn't happen. One, birthday celebrations got a bit out of hand, and yeah, I wasn't in a very good condition, let's say, but that's by and by. Then, of course, there was a match, which I didn't want to film on. I'm not confident to film when there's other people doing a match around because I don't like interrupting by talking and doing things around yet, but I will do at some stage, probably some club matches and what have you. The weather was horrendous for about 3 days. It was torrential rain, wind every day, so getting out my camera and trying to film was just a no-no. But I did catch one thing while I was down there, if you can't tell by my voice. COVID. Brilliant. So I've been laid up with COVID for a week. So I've had to back out of club matches, I've not been fishing, I've pulled away from people, I've been isolating and stuff. I mean, I know it's not law now, but I still believe in trying to keep it away from other people who might be vulnerable in that in our club. You know, there's obviously one or two that are going to be in that bracket, so I'd rather not take the risk of passing it on to them or their loved ones. But I'm getting over it, slowly but surely. I've got all my gear out because I'm going to give it a good clean up, but what I thought I'd do a video of at the moment, just as a quick one, is I've got one of my top kits here, which is like one of my silverfish top kits, and in it I've got a 6 elastic hybrid Preston, and it's been in throughout the winter and that now, and it's starting to get a little bit worn, so I'm just going to up it to the 9 hybrid elastic, which will be perfect for when I'm going after my cruises and my little tench and big roach and what have you down at a lake local called Mixed Lake. So I'm going to go as quick as I can, show you best I can how to re-elasticate a top kit without losing your elastic, take it all apart. If it goes wrong, then I've got my diamond eye threader and everything here. I'm going to try and use the same bead on the puller, because I've not got many spares, but I've got all my spare Dacrons. I'm going to change the Dacron over connector. I'm a sucker for Dacron connectors. I love them. I think they're great. I know some people prefer, when they're using lighter elastics, to use just a bead onto the elastic, but I like my Dacrons because it means it's a little bit more versatile for certain things. So let's not waste much more time. The first thing you want to do is make sure you've got your stuff together. So I've got my elastic, I've got scissors for cutting it, I've got, of course, my top kit and everything here, and that should be all I need for now. Of course, I've got my Dacrons and my bead is already on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is just put this together, if I can, just to make it easier to do, and put that over there behind you. I'm going to get out the new elastic. It's quite hot out here in fairness, so it's not the best place to be doing this. I prefer to do this in a cooler climate. I've got buckets of water and stuff down there because I've got to wash my pole, my box and everything. Now, this is, like I say, the number 9 elastic's a little bit stronger than the 6. Not a lot in it, but because it's now summertime, these fish are going to be getting a bit more fighty, a bit more aggressive, so just going to up it that one grade on this one. I've got other elastics that are lighter and others that are stronger, of course, for like anyone does. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this one out where the bead is. So if I just move that over there in a minute, put it somewhere safe if I can. So where your Dacron is there, like that, I'm going to pull that out a bit, and I'm just going to tie this elastic to it. Alright, so I'm going to wrap it round it, and you can do whatever knot you're confident in, really. I have certain knots that I know will work for this. So, well, if I can get my fingers right. I am shattered, to be honest, doing any of these things at the moment. That COVID's really hit me, and hit me hard. My energy levels have been sapped to nothing, and I mean to nothing. I mean, Jeannie Mark, I didn't know it was going to be that bad when I got it. Right, give it a pull just to see if it slips. If it does, just going to do another little knot, just a normal granny knot, because I'm not worried about cut-offs or anything like that. The reason I'm changing it as well is if you feel where your Dacron connector is, I just run my fingers back on it a bit like that, and I can feel it's all rough and starting to degrade. and some of the elasticity is going on it, as you can see how it hangs down and stuff like that. So it is time for it to change. It's been in there a good 7 months now. But once you're confident in your knot that it's all tight, sort of thing, give your bead a cut off so that the elastic can travel through the pull. I'm pretty sure that they say to always go from the top back rather than from the puller up, probably due to it might cause a bit of damage or something. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way to this end now, like that, and just so that I know nothing's going to come off it, I've got a spare bead here somewhere. And oh, that's the other thing you're going to need is a little threader. It's like a little diamond threader for putting the bead on, which is that thing there. And what you do, there's a little hole in it, right? So put your bead onto the wire like that, so it's sitting on it, right? And then thread your elastic through the little diamond eye like that, right? And it'll catch it. So it's caught in it like that. Thread your bead on. Right, that's not going to go nowhere, that bead now, and it's just so that when I pull it through, I don't pull it all the way through and bugger up the re-elastication. And get your pole right the way back down to your puller and just pull your elastic through. It might be a bit stiff at first if it's a thicker elastic for the knot, but because these are quite thin, gentle elastics, there you go. There you go, it's through. There's the pink elastic through. Pull it up to the bead up there. Now, what I'm going to do now, put that back down there because I'm confident that it's not going to fall anywhere. I'm going to pull that up a bit. Get the old yellow elastic because, like I say, that's the bead I want to put on. Cut that off. Take that bead off there. Put that to one side. Take that off of there. And then I'm going to put on one of the little dacrons. This is the small size. And all I do, there are many different ways of doing this, but again, do what you feel confident in, is I get the dacron connector. I'm just going to leave that there. As you see, they come ready on these strips like that. They're rounded. Where it's rounded onto the strip, that's what goes onto your elastic. So pull the bead down to the end of the stop. Right, loosen it off so that it can come off the stick that it's on. Which sometimes is easier said than done, like that. And you're left with that little loop. Okay, thread the elastic through that loop. Like so, right? So it's like that. Watch what I'm doing with the pole. Right, it's just sitting on the elastic like that. Okay, now get your elastic and tie a knot or two in it that's strong enough or big enough to stop that from passing over it, if you will. Always wet your knot so you don't, weaken the elastic as you do it. It is pre-done in lube and everything, this elastic, which is great stuff. But I just give it a wet when I'm tying these knots. And I want a knot that's fairly substantial and bulky. So just like that sort of thing. And what I do is I pull my bead down to that knot, like so. Tighten the loop up to it and pull the loop tight of the dacron. Pull that loop tight, nice and tight. It's not going to go anywhere, the knot's not going to slip because of the way it's been tied. I'm just going to keep feathering it bit by bit so I don't damage the elastic, but get that nice and tight. So it ends up looking a bit like that, right? And then pull the bead over it just to see how it's going to sit, right? So that's going to sit fine. And then trim the elastic down. Now, in fairness, the new Preston dacrons are great because they've got like a little pocket inside the rubber sleeve for the knot to sit in, so that you can have it going directly back to your pole tip, to your PTFE, and it doesn't hang out or anything like that. It just sits in it nice and flush. Whereas these ones you have to kind of feed it in, force it in, and then trim back any excess that's too much, but we don't worry about it being too much really. I don't mind having a bit of excess hanging, but if you want to sit flush, you're really going to have to work on the knot and getting it inside that rubber sleeve. So it should end up sitting a bit like that. Okay, then we're going to go back down the pole again, pull it tight like that, trim off the old elastic now, get that threader and do the same thing again for putting the bead on. So put the bead on first, that'll help. And if you'll notice, the beads again have got like a little cone in them for the knot you're going to tie to sit into. So the cone goes on thick end first, put your elastic through the eye, catch it, pull the bead on like that, pull the bead up to the desired tension. Now it's always worth it when you've done this to give it a few stretches, get that elastic stretched right out if you can, so that A, you know you're not slipping up, or not slipping up there, your knot's not slipping, and you get your elastic a little bit of pre-tension in it, and then pull your bead down to the tension you want. So that's going to be zipping straight back to that bead now at the moment. And then I tie, it's like a crow's foot kind of knot. I'd make a loop, I go round, let's see if I can show you into anything better. I make a loop in the elastic, then I make another loop with my finger, go round it with the first loop, like that, and then feed it through and tie it. So it ends up like a big figure eight, if you will. Right, tie that off again, bit of lube, tighten it down like that. So you've got a loop tied like that, and then your excess elastic. Pull the bead back towards it like that, so it all goes inside, and then trim it. And I always like to leave just a bit of a messy three-pronger sitting out like that. Gives me something else to grip hold of when I'm playing the fish. And that's it. As you can tell, it's nice and tight, not too tight, straight back, and that's it, re-elasticated. I'll come back this side. There's my Dacron sitting on the tip, and that's going straight back every time to the PTFE. Spot on. And as you can see, with it being a thin elastic, it sits quite flush to the tip, which is what you want. And that is the top kit re-elasticated. Now you can use this if you want for making markers on your pole. You know, if you want to use them as depth markers, say you've got a top kit that hasn't got these depth markers, or you want to just tie off exactly what depth you're going to be, you can use this elastic for that. Just cut a piece off, tie it to your top kit where your depth's set at, or use it for putting your hook to, you know, tie it around the bottom so you can just pull your hook down, hook it into it so that you've not got elastic coming all the way down to the butt section and hooking into that, which can damage a bit of the top kit. So we'll put that to one side, and that's that done. So now I'm going to wash all the rest of my kit off, but there's a quick how-to re-elasticating a pole kit that's already had elastic in it. Quite easy, quite simple. Once you're a bit cautious about when you cut, where you cut, so that it doesn't go ping and you've got to start from scratch. Hopefully this will all clear up, I won't be infectious, and I'll be able to get out and do a bit more fishing and filming soon. But at the moment I've got to take a rain check on that, and we've had the best weather we've had for weeks since I caught COVID, so not a happy camper, but what are you going to do? So there you are, tight lines, and hopefully see you on the bank.